the individual's responsibility how they take this and other cases. All we ask for, all Jonathan asked for, is the right to tell his story. He hasn't asked for anything else from anybody on anything. Some people made the comments, well, maybe it's about money. Well, no. No money has ever been made for this. No money has ever been asked for any. It's been offered. It's never been taken. The important thing here is the experience and the relevant information that comes along with that experience. Many people, they're just not ready for this. Fear is guiding them more than anything. But it's important to embrace your fear, deal with it, control it, and allow yourself to think outside the box. Because things are never as they seem. This case has proven to me, with all the evidence and the experiences I've had, that there's just so much more to it. And if this case exists, which it does, how many other cases are out there where people just aren't ready to come forward and talk about what has happened to them? As a society, we tend to try to clinicalize things, and we want to experiment, and we want to dissect things. Well, you're dealing with human lives. You're not experimenting on people. They've already been through enough. We need to support these people, at the very least, give them a chance to tell what happened to them.
All right, so you brought the body home. You want to go back into, once you got it home, what you decided to do, who you decided to call?
Well, when I first drove home, on the ride home, I'd been getting sick. I stopped at a few places to get out of the car, to throw up, to try to see if there was somebody at a ranger station. There wasn't anybody there. And I continued to drive home. All I could think of is go home. I was so sick, I wanted to get home. I wanted to find something that was comfortable, something that was familiar. And all of a sudden I ended up in my carport. I felt like, boom, I'm there in literally no time, but it had to have taken about an hour to drive back from where this had happened. I had the body wrapped up in this thermal blanket in the back of my Jeep, and I realized that, as I sat in my car, in my carport, I realized that the body is there. I could see it in the rearview mirror. And my dog was no longer in my car. And so what my mind created in that moment was the illusion that I literally told myself, oh, my dog died. I must have wrapped her body up in the thermal blanket, which I can see in the rearview mirror, and I brought her home. And for a moment, that gave me comfort. That made sense. Because I didn't have to think about all these other things that I couldn't wrap my mind around. And I was striving and looking and grasping at anything I could to feel better. So I literally took this thermal blanket, this body wrapped up in this thermal blanket, which was relatively small and very, very light, and picked it up, walked from my carport over to my garage, opened the door, which inside my garage was a large box freezer. Some people say it's a coffin freezer. Well, it was an older freezer. Somebody had given it to me. It had hardly any food in it. Had some frozen food in it. I lifted that tray of frozen food out, set it on the ground, and I put the body in it. Why did I do that? I didn't want to look at it. Did I want to preserve it for mankind? No, that was never a thought, ever. I just thought, it's a dead body, it's my dog, I'm going to put it in here until I can bury it. And then I'm going to go in the house and take a shower, because I was covered with my own problems, you know, from urinating, from having diarrhea, from sweating, from throwing up. I was a mess. And I was still sick. I was still really, really sick. And I felt dehydrated, terribly dehydrated. And like I'd been run on a marathon. I mean, I was just wasted, tired. So I went in the house. I closed the door of the garage. I went in the house. The door didn't even lock to the garage. But I just closed it, went in the house, and tried to get it out of my mind. Drank some water, stood at my kitchen sink, just in a blank stare for I don't know how long. Went and stood in the shower with all my clothes on, and took my clothes off because I was sick. Laid down for a while. Felt terrible laying down. Sat back up. Got up. Stood at the sink for I don't know how long. Drinking water. Trying not to think about anything. I mean, I was really not wanting to comprehend anything. Just zoning out. And finally I kind of sat down and I thought, well, I need to call somebody. And I just need some contact. So I tried to call my girlfriend. She wasn't home. Left her a message. I'm home, call me. I didn't feel like saying what had happened because I didn't really want to go there. Maybe my mind just really did not want to go there. I called a good friend of mine, Gary, and he wasn't home, but I left him a message, a little more detail. I said, something's happened. I need to talk to you. I need your help. And I really feel terrible. My body, like I have the flu or I have something that's happening. I'm sick. And so, that was the process. There was no list of things to do. It was just survival to the moment by moment. Did I do all the right things? No. If I had it all over to do again, I would change all of it. But nobody ever gave me, an indication of what the rules are to play by. There was no playbook. Nobody gave me a manual on how to deal with this. And I'd never been through anything like this. I'd never heard of anybody being through anything like this. It didn't fit my world. It didn't fit my life, my paradigm, anything. It just didn't fit. So I muddled my way through it just to feel good, just to feel better. And finally my friend called, I said, you got to come over here. My dog is dead, Susie. I mean, he knew my dog. I'd had my dog for a long time. And he said, oh my God, what happened? And I said, well, just come over here. And I really didn't want to talk about it, but I knew I needed somebody, because I thought, well, maybe I need to go to the hospital. Maybe this is worse, and I didn't want to be alone. And so, he finally came over and he said, what's going on? And I didn't really want to tell him. And he kind of said, well, I'll get you some water. Do you need food? Do you need to go to the hospital? And at that point I was saying, I don't know. I just want to sit here. I just want to sit here. And finally, he literally said, well, what happened to Susie? And I said, well, she's dead. Something killed her. And I don't know. I don't know what it was. I didn't even know. I had no idea. And he says, well, what do you mean? An animal killed her? Did she get hit by a car? And I said, no, she didn't get hit by a car. Something killed her. And I said, and I think I killed it. I killed it, trying to defend her. And he said, well, was it a bear? Was it a wildcat? And I didn't say anything for a long time. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if it was